Welcome. First of all, can I pay my respects to traditional owners of the lands where we're meeting? We're coming from everywhere, and acknowledge past, present, and emerging elders. But I also would like to acknowledge some other people, all us mediators. Mediators, if we're First Nation mediators, if we work in the family sector, if we work in our communities, in our cultural communities, if we work in our LGBTQIA plus communities, wherever we might work, we bring a lot of our qualities, a lot of our abilities, but we work in many different areas that are labelled family. So I would like to welcome all us family mediators and all those who are not necessarily family mediators, but friends and family that have come today. So thank you. If you don't know me, that's going to be awkward. My name is Linda Kochanski, but I think I do know most of you, which is lovely. And it's my pleasure to be basically chairing a little bit of a celebration and a recognition for the Mediating with Families 5th edition. I'm lucky that I got tagged on to the 5th edition, but I'm really here, I think, to honour Miss Mieke Brandon, who has done, this is 20 plus years of mediating with families. First edition started in 2002. And so she's seen a lot of what's happened in the FDR world, and I think she's well respected. So this is really a celebration of Mika's long career as well. So Mika will be saying a few words. And then the other person I'd like to introduce is Michael Hunt, who probably outdoes us all as being a mediator who started a very long time ago. Michael, I won't embarrass you and say when it was, but it was, I think, likely before a lot of these people were actually born. We won't go there in that way. And Michael's graciously going to say a few words about Mediating with Families 5th edition. But I'm also hoping, and those of you who know me, that it is open for questions, or if you've got some comments you would like to make about the world we live in, FDR world, there'll be opportunity for that. This will not be a long session. We'll be over in 45 to 50 minutes because people have lives, and I'm more than grateful that you've all come on. As I said, quite overwhelmed with the number of people that responded. And at the end, I will also put up some details if you haven't bought the book, if you want to. I'd also like to acknowledge while we're here, Paul Guy. Oh, thank you, Charity.
Hey, that is my list.
I'd like to also acknowledge Paul Guy, who's from Thomson and Reuter, who's been being a guiding source for us for this journey that we've been on. So, Paul, thank you for being here, and if you want to add anything too as well. So that's where we're at today. So yes, Mediating with Families, the 5th edition came out about May this year. And some Charity, thank you, you've already got the book, which is lovely. But it's more that I think we wanted to celebrate it in a couple of ways, because as I said, Mika started in 2000, and the first edition was 2002. We're now up to 2025. This is 20 plus years of FDR, and we've come a long way. And I think those of you who've been on that journey with us, some of us that long, can see how we've evolved and how we keep evolving. And some of you new ones, like I'm seeing some of my really recent students, how we welcome you into this community. So thank you for being here today. Mika, I'm going to, with your permission, pass it over to you with a couple of guiding questions. How and why did you decide the 5th edition was needed? And some of your comments behind why our work is so important.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I just want to first start, we express our immense gratitude to those who assisted and inspired us along our journey for the 5th edition. And as you say, I was a co-author for the 1, 2, 3, 4 one. And we'll also express our thanks for all those members of Family Mediator community who have given us permission to reproduce their original work throughout the text. Their materials have added color and depth to the text hastily. We acknowledge our appreciation of Thomson Reuters, and that is Paul, of a guy of his guidance and assistance to the very end. And I'm very pleased that he's here. Our introduction for likely chapters enriches the changes that occurred in the dispute resolution world over the years. And you will see that the tips and traps after each chapter urges practitioners to follow the changes to the mediator standard, as well as the changes to the family law acts. It's really important also to know that Linda and I met each other at Relationship Australia in 1993. Remember, we had to sit under the light on a chair, and some people interviewed were women, and then we changed, and then there were men. So it was very exciting. And of course, we got the jobs, didn't you? Didn't we? Okay, and that was in 1993. And I was a trainer supervisor, and Linda, she came from a legal background, and she can talk a little bit about that and assure other lawyers that they were not losing their jobs, because that's what they thought, wasn't it, Linda, in that early time? And I remember I wrote an article for a journal, and they called it medication. Do you remember that? Mediation was medication, yes. Then Linda and I met in the same office, and Linda found a page where, say, mediation has the expression of causing win-win. Remember that? And we were both a bit shocked that really conflict and disputes and misunderstandings, if you're going to call those win-win when they come to mediation, does anybody know why that is no longer the right expression? You can tell me something, no? Because it's not about winning or losing. It's about being able to get on, whether you do family mediation, learning how to use your misunderstandings. And that's why Linda and I also more or less invented from something that I learned in America of relationship mediation. And that is all future focused, and you need to read about it in the book, because then it's not about he always, she never, and bitching about your partner, or in a workplace mediation, but that there is something that is positive. Isn't that right, Linda? Do you want to add something to it?
All I wanted to say was that I think that we come in our sector, win-win is not what we want to see. We don't want to see mum and dad trying to score off each other. How many times have we seen that? So Mika and I tore up that win-win poster, and we looked at about how we could achieve the outcomes for the families. And I think that was the essence of where, and I think for Mika, if I'm not speaking out of turn, was then when she approached to do the first edition with the late Linda Fisher, was to bring in all those kind of aspects. And that was groundbreaking back in 2002. And I think what's happened over the years, and you've all contributed to that, is the growth of the FDR sector. We are seeing, we're not seen as a threat, we're seeing as an integral part. And it's been really important. So Mika, what made you decide to do the 5th edition?
I have felt so passionate from the day that I learned mediation, and that was co-mediation I think, and they were teaching co-mediation, particularly for neighborhood disputes and things like that. And there was a reason that they wanted to stop that type of mediation. And I think hopefully I wrote against that, because that's how I learned it was co-mediation. But there's a breakdown of, we have facilitative mediation, we have solution focused, we transformative, narrative, therapeutic, conciliation, med-ap and ap-med, collaborative practice, DR, FDI, for any of the relationship mediations that we can choose. And I think it is very important that we stay creative that we use our head, our heart, and our souls. And I wrote an article about that too. I've written about, I don't know, 45 or more peer review articles, because somehow I just became addicted to mediation. And what else?
It's a healthy addiction.
It's a
those
healthy
of you who
addiction.
are counselors
That's
and work
right.
with the addiction, let's say it's a healthier addiction than some others. So Mika, so you're allowed to have that. Right.
And we still have co-mediation, shuttle, online mediation, ODR, telephone mediation. But the gift we had in the beginning, that we often got participants who were in a dispute or a misunderstanding or conflict, that we had the whole room. And the whole room gave us a lot of information about how they were sitting. I'm not talking about intake, because most of you would know about it or read a chapter about it. But when we always had them in the one room, we could see them, we could hear their tone, which we can also do on the line, obviously, and when you have them on the telephone. It's so changed, hasn't it, Linda, from the days that we started and from the days that you became a mediator. And when we worked to, which did we first work for, Linda? Can you remember that? Bond University, remember?
Yes, and we did some training for Bond. They were ahead. I think for me, the biggest change has been, if I can be, okay, I went in there thinking I'm a lawyer. I can solve these conflicts for them. What are they doing, really? And it was really, it hit me, I think, when all this neuroscience, and I'm going, really? Really? Neuroscience? People, I don't want to know about people's mind. Really? I don't really care what they're feeling.
Like their mindfulness, you didn't care for that either?
Give me a break. I learned that, okay? But what I'm saying seriously is that I think that's been the evolution that we've seen, that what we're dealing with, particularly in family, and I'm focusing because we're dealing with the family, not just the conflict. We're dealing with the trauma, we're dealing trauma informed, we're dealing with what's the impact on not only the children but the adults. And I think that's been the evolution for me, that this is a complex. I'm just looking around at some of my recent students, and the layering, that's been the complexities, hasn't it, Charity, Emily? It's been the layering that you, Katie, that you don't expect. You're looking at kind of basics, but then it's all that layering. And for those of you who experience the Danielles and the Peter Matthews, that's the kind of thing that makes it such an interesting and rich area. And I think that was such the importance of mediating with families 1 through to 4. And when Mika asked me if I would join and co-author 5, I foolishly said yes, because I don't say no to a lot of things. I mean, it was a learning curve. Thank Mika, having Mika as, again, a mentor in a different way. But I certainly, because probably not, those of you who know me, I'm a talker, not a writer, but I've learned to be a writer as well. And
absolutely.
And I'm just pleased that hopefully that text is now something that, what I keep saying, from student to practitioner and back again. And that's, I'm hoping it's readable. I'm hoping it's people that can look it up, and I'm hoping that we've captured the annoying thing. Can I just say, Mika, on both our behalf, is the constant changes to the Family Law Act. They were giving us the heebie-jeebies, because so you'll notice, those of you who've got the book, please look up your most recent FDRP regular, because we had to send it to the printer before the regulations came into practice. And the same with the property stuff. But inevitably, if we waited till the changes came in, we wouldn't be publishing a book. So that's the thing for us. So I suppose my message is, do keep up with the framework. We've tried to keep the book much more about the process, about how to do things, about thinking, but the framework we know changes a little bit. So that's my comment from that thing.
Yeah, and Linda, you have become an author, but what was good that I did a draft, and then you would say, wow, that section is really good. However, that section we can reframe a little bit. And that was so rich for me. And that reframing that we all have to learn to become mediators as well. was so powerful. You know, we weren't always on the same page. The how and why questions and the why and how questions, we often talked with each other what the best thing would be for edition 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, so that was, well, helpful to you and helpful to me, because we've been, from the day we met, we have been team builders. And what a lot of people don't realize, that a relationship, whether it's a workplace or at home, you watch football and you know all about mateship, but you look at the winning, and we don't look at the winning. We're looking at the cooperation for each other to.
Why don't I just fill the time in just for the minute then, just saying this 84-year-old has started, I have to say, in response to Linda, in 1978 was when the Community Justice Centres started. And do you know, the word mediation was used, and guess what? We had to go to the dictionary to see what actually the word had meant. And so haven't we come such a long way since those days, eh?
Indeed.
There's been so much development, and it's hard to find a government department today that doesn't have a dispute resolution process and procedure. So it's just wonderful to see how this has just added so much value to our community.
I'll just, if before I hand it over to Michael, who's going to say a few words and sort of officially launch, I'd just like to make some acknowledgements and thank some people, because my journey's been an interesting one in terms of, I started as a lawyer, as a lot of tripped over mediation because I was working in an area where I had mums with 7 kids by 6 different fathers, and went, yeah, not a legal problem, apart from being a family planning problem, there are other issues. I was lucky enough to trip into Relationships Australia, where I met Mika, and forever grateful for that. But I also met some really helpful people along the way. Some are here, some are not here, that have really been instrumental and given me the idea that mediation is probably where I should have ended up. And I did end up there. I would thank people like Melanie Schroeder, who I work with, Callum Campbell, who I have worked with a very long time. I've met him since he was a boy, so, you know, really look at that now, you know. So, but it was Callum who was instrumental in me transitioning and looking at how we can work online. And I think that's the other thing that I find in family, that we now have so many modes, so many structures, that we really can help the people we need to help. Face-to-face was always the ideal way, and yes, but we do know that there are many reasons why things like online, telephone, that needs to happen. So I like to, you know, acknowledge all of my colleagues along the way, people like Bianca Keys, who won't touch family with a barge pole, and she'll tell you that, but has been very instrumental in giving structure. Also, all the coaches that I've worked with that over the years, and Peter Matthews, one from Western Australia, definitely. Peter, we literally met and suddenly he became one of our wonderful coaches. So thank you for that. And can I say thank you to the students that I've had, and some of you are on there. I hope you've learnt something, and I've learnt so much from you. And that's the continuing. So I've had a really interesting journey. And for me, mediating with families, 5th edition is, I can retire now. Callum resigning. So no, the thing is that's been something that it's a legacy that I'd like to leave as well. So thank you to all of you, and very much, but very much indeed.
Hey, Linda, can I just jump in?
Yeah.
Sorry. Behind every great author, and Mika's a great author, is a great daughter. And in terms of editorial support, etc., I just want to acknowledge Simone.
Yeah, please do. And so I saw her loitering in the background, Nick, somewhere. So
yeah.
And to be fair, that Simone has been a great support for Mika, totally. So Oh, hi, how are you? And I have to, I suppose I have to acknowledge that I have someone special here as well. Justin, turn it on.
Well, that's what I wanted to say, Justin.
Yeah, he's here.
Because I gave him, I coached him and helped him, and then later on he helped us with the book, didn't he?
He did.
When you read the book, you'll see Justin's role.
So that's why family's so important in family mediation. For those of you who don't know Justin, he's my son, and he's ended up following into the mediation, and he works with Callum. I'm really pleased that he's ended up there. So thanks, Just. So Michael, I might hand over to you now for some comments and sort of help us officially say Mediating with Families First Edition is on the board.
Lovely.
Thanks, Michael.
Lovely, and thank you, Linda. Before beginning, I just wish to pay my respects to the elders past, present and the future, for the memories and the traditions, the culture and the hopes of Indigenous Australia. So for me, this is a real honour to be speaking at today's launch, not just because this is important, but because I've had the privilege of knowing Mika and Linda for well over 20 years. When you've known people that long, through the roles, the projects, and the stages of life, you get to see the values and the mindsets that run through their work. Values like integrity, curiosity, congruency, authenticity, and a commitment to people and ideas that matter. This book, Mediating with Families, reflects those values and is such a generous offering to professionals and communities alike. I first met Mika and Linda before the turn of the century, when they were working at Relationships Australia in Queensland and at Bond University. Even then, you could tell they were natural collaborators. They were curious, reflective, and willing to test their ideas in the real world. Like now, they didn't just talk about their concepts, they lived them. They were and are aligned with their values. Over the years, each worked across a wide range of activities and made significant contributions as practitioners, assessors, trainers, speakers, coaches, supervisors, educators, authors, and in academia. Both served on governance boards. Mika on the Leader and the Resolution Institute boards, and Linda on the Mediator Standards Board. And always with the same core values of listen deeply, think critically, and ethically. It came as no surprise that Mika co-authored this 5th edition of the book with Linda. No surprise at all. And now those years of insight and experience have been distilled into this book, Mediating with Families. The 5th edition has been updated to reflect the dynamic, evolving and challenging sector. Updates are many. I was going to list them, but I won't because Mika mentioned them before. But one I think is really worth having a look at, it's the online dispute resolution. So this book is not just a broad collection of essential topics and ideas It's a roadmap, a reflection, a provocation, all in one. Whether you're new to the field or have been in it for years, you'll find something that resonates, and proudly something that unsettles you in the best way. The book is highly informative and easily accessible with a detailed index. There are excellent footnotes for those who want even more information, and the tips and the traps at the end of each chapter are a highlight. Undoubtedly, when I'm stuck or looking for information with my casework, I'll be using these tools as I have with previous editions. Of particular interest to me is chapter 16, because it's on reflective and supervision. And I believe that going forward, this is essential reading for our professional development and taking care of ourselves. This book isn't just a project. It's a continuation of Mika's and Linda's life work, a way of inviting more people into the conversation and continuing to make a lasting contribution. So today, we are not just launching a book, we're celebrating a partnership that spans many decades, a rare and powerful thing in any field. Thank you, Mika and Linda, for your insight and unwavering commitment to ideas that serve the common good. And to everyone here today, I hope you'll read this book, share it, and let it challenge and inspire you, like these two women have challenged and inspired us over the years. Congratulations, Mika and Linda.
Thank you very much, Michael. Yeah, explained it all, and look, I hope they read it more than once, because a book on your lap when there's a serious matter, what can you do? You can make a for your participants in the mediation on the phone or in ODR or with lawyers present. You know, I used to sometimes bring sweets to sweeten them up as a joke, and they didn't mind at all. But yeah, thanks very much, Michael. Thank you. Where's Linda?
Yeah, I echo. Thank you so much, Michael. Much appreciated. I've allowed a little bit of time if anybody wants to ask a question or make a comment before I do some round off. Is there any questions or comments from anybody on here about, and it doesn't have to be about the book. It would be nice about the book, but about anything else that you might want to comment. I will pop up a couple of things towards the end. I just want to say a couple of last minute words, but anybody want to say anything? Paul, might be nice to the publisher said a word or two. That's probably a good idea.
Thanks, Linda. Excuse me, I'm a bit croaky. I just wanted to convey Thomson Reuters' gratitude to Mika and Linda. This book has a long history with us, although we don't represent the entirety of the book's history, with the first edition publishing in 2002. And I just want to thank, I think it was Pearson Publishing, for sufficiently annoying the authors that they decided to bring the book to us. Because we've really enjoyed being associated with this book since, I think, the second edition in 2009. And Thomson Reuters likes to believe we have a reasonable presence in the dispute resolution space broadly. We've certainly conspicuously sought out and published new titles year on year wherever we can. But Mediating with Families is the signature title within that suite of products. we believe is one of our most successful, and we believe it also represents a real quality opportunity to publish in this space. And we've heard in the conversation today, both Mika and Linda and Michael talk about how much the FDR space has changed during the life of this book. Well, as the publisher, we don't believe the book is merely a reactive part of that equation. We believe it's a driving component of the FDR scene and has done an enormous amount to define FDR in this country. And we know that other countries, professionals in other countries look to this book. We know it sells overseas, and we know from expressions of interest we've had over the years that people in America and elsewhere are watching this book and learning from it. I want to acknowledge the long dealings I've had now with Mika over, 15 or 16 years now, which I can't quite believe. And this is our 4th edition together. I think it's wonderful that Linda Kochanski has stepped in and become involved with the book since the passing of Linda Fisher. I think it's just fantastic that we can realise the 5th edition. And I want to thank Mika and Linda both. You are among our foremost voices in mediation. And I hope you enjoy a well-earned rest now the book is published. And thank you once again for providing us with a chance to be associated with your wonderful book. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paul. And it's Mika, you might like to say more. Paul, I've spoke to on the phone. This is the first time I've seen Paul, so it's lovely to meet you in person.
Well, here he is.
Here he is.
Whereas,
yeah, well, Paul and I have a very long relationship since we started the 5th edition. And I've said it before, he's been very cooperative and very patient and all of that. But I just realised at the moment we haven't talked about the front of the book, and I want to acknowledge Sarah, who took the photo, and she's the granddaughter of my neighbour. And when the neighbour showed me the photos, I saw the metaphor straight away. You know, when there's a dilemma or when there's a misunderstanding or there's a conflict, you have to walk through the difficulties, you know, metaphorically. And that's why the beach on that photo is so strongly got my heart, my head, and my soul. And then once you have resolved everything, you can just lie in the ocean and feel good again. And I just hope that all of you appreciate the front of the cover as well. And hopefully this is someone who also feels that the cover of the book just gives you the metaphoric story. But perhaps I'm born and educated as someone who's very creative. And so I can't help it. It really was just one view and I got it.
Yeah, for Mika, she got very excited with the photo and I agree with her. I just want to make a couple of last minute thank yous, but open it up. For me, the book was about giving back to the community because I've been around a long time. The grey hair proves it. And I think we give back. The other way that I hopefully give back, and I want to thank my co-directors who are flying back from training, Robin Hewith and Bobby Riley from Global Training and Professional Development. We formed that business to give back as well. And they were lovely to have been up north and doing some training, but they wished us well and they were the ones that offered to put this on. And so I thank them most sincerely. Some of you are members of GTPD. I hope you find it. Claire, we're giving you the gold star. You're one of our prize members. So thank you. Thank you, Claire. But that's another way of giving back. The other way we're going to give back, and I'm going to share this, if that's all right with Paul Guy. Oops, that's not the one I want. Why I'm trying to share is that those of you who haven't bought the book, there's a discount code. Did you? Okay.
There we are.
I found it. Yay. Also, what will happen is that everyone who's registered with an email, you'll get a flyer and that will also have information. Yes, of course, we'd like you to buy the book. I'm sure Thomson Reuters would love you to buy the book as well, but it's more about that today was more about saying thank you. And those of you that's up there, if you want to have a look at it, those of you who haven't got the book yet, that gives you a discount code that will help you when you connect up. And as I said, I'll stop sharing now, but if anybody wants that, there'll also be a flyer coming out to you with information. I'm going to let you go because I said 45 minutes, but is there any comments? Those of you who have got the book, I'm not suggesting have you read it, but have you been able to have a look at it? Do you think it will be helpful to you? Charity, you're nodding, so thank you. If anybody wants to make any comments or last minute. Yes, Charity.
I just want to say that you and Mika are both very inspiring. I have definitely referred to the book and I absolutely love what I noticed, that it literally links the theory to practice, in that from my knowledge and experience and background working in mental health services, the actual layers of complexity and case studies, it makes sense reading this because this is 2025. These are the cases we are dealing with and the difficulties and hurdles which families are facing. So I just want to say thank you very much for making this book very adaptable to what is being faced in 2025, different dynamics of families. So thank you so much.
Charity, thank you for your kind words. And that was, I know Mika, but I can't speak for Mika, but for me, it was about practice. I mean, theory is wonderful, but how do you apply that? How do you see that? To be able to read something and go, yes, I can apply that. And Mika very much so from even the first edition wanted case studies in there because we need that. Mika.
Yeah, and case studies are always the ones that you learn the most from. Thomson Reuters has also been very generous because we had several people who actually gave us information for certain chapters. And what Thomson Reuters has agreed to, that those people could have a freebie of the book. And they've been extremely excited about it because they're experienced people in different areas with different perspectives. And that enriched some of the chapters, didn't it? Chapter 16, chapter 7, chapter 12 from memory. And they are very experienced people, even more experienced and with a legal background, who do beautiful work.
I think we'll finish off now to say thank you. I want to say thank you to Mika very much, being a mentor and yes, we don't disagree, but we weren't on the same page with every page that we did. No. I too want to echo the thanks to Simone because I know she's been a real help behind the scenes. So thank you, Simone. I seriously thank Justin as well because he just listened to my gripes. Not that I have lots of gripes, do I, Just? But the occasional gripe.
Don't we all?
So I want to thank him. Thank Michael for being here today. I really appreciate that because I very much come from an area that, we've been around a long time, but there are people that know more than us. So I want to thank everyone that's been on. So thank you for spending 45 minutes listening to what we've done, what we've looked at. If you haven't looked at the book, as Mika said, we've got 16 chapters that go from the framework right through to reflective practice, how to deal with property, how to deal with complexities. We've hopefully touched upon the landscape as it is now. If there is a 6th edition, both Mika and I hair will be a lot grayer, but at the moment, let's celebrate the 5th edition. So thank you so much for everyone coming today. You'll get a copy of this. We'll have the little frame. If you want to reach out and talk to us about the book and ask questions, hopefully we'll see some of you at the NMC where we'll be as well. So
absolutely. Thank you
so much. Have a lovely day and thank
you.
you.
Where we'll get our book signed.
Thank you. Take care. Yeah, we'll be there.
Thank you.
We'll
Thank you,
definitely
Mika.
be there.
Thank you, Linda.
Take care, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye and
Bye.
go well.